Welcome to The Real with Joseph Labman. I am Joseph Labman. Thank you for tuning in this episode of The Real, taking time out of your day to come watch this episode. I really appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe for me. I'd really appreciate that as well. That's the best way you can support this channel and help me grow my content and grow this channel to where I'd like it to be. Everybody hit the like button for me on the way in on this video today. That also helps promote this video more in the algorithms, helps grow this channel more as well. Please share this content. I would really appreciate that. My guests would as well. If you would please share this episode with someone you know that maybe is interested in the topic we're talking about today. Please leave a comment below as well. We'd love to hear your guys' feedback. You can interact with myself and the guest on the panel and the live chat as well. Whatever we're talking about, just leave a comment there in the live chat. Pop in and say hello. We'll put it on the screen for you. And yeah, without further ado, let's get to the show. Welcome back to The Real with Joseph Labman. I am Joseph Labman. Welcome into The Real. If you're new here, shout out to all new subscribers that subscribed over the weekend. Appreciate you guys. And all week long, we've had a ton of new subscribers. So we appreciate you guys from our show last Sunday night. So shout out to all you guys. Welcome to The Real. And everybody hit the like button on the way in here. Let's get a like rally going. Please hit the like button more. Helps get this video more in the algorithms. We need your guys' help. Like I said there in that video, so please hit the like button, leave a comment, and shout out to all new subscribers. And yeah, some interesting stuff in BEREA going on right now in Browns land. So let's get into it. We got a lot to get into tonight. Kind of like a State of the Union for the Browns. You know, this is the bye week mid-season, so Mike and I are gonna, break it all down tonight, and just all the many things going on right now in BEREA. Yeah, it's a lot. So let's get to the main one. So Andrew Berry, let's start with him. Let's start with old AB, right? Ducking the smoke? Is he ducking the smoke? Andrew Berry, and I know we have a lot of new fans here this year with Shador and stuff like that. People haven't followed along the Browns since these guys have been here back in 2020. Every year at the bye week, Andrew Berry would come up there and speak to the media. But all of a sudden this year, he's not speaking to the media. Why is that? And why is Kevin Stefanski the only guy speaking publicly right now for the Browns? I find that very odd as well. We're going to get into that here in the B block. But in the next segment, excuse me. I said B block. When we break down the show of A block, B block, C block, D block. But anyways, that's technical stuff. But, again, Andrew Berry's ducking the smoke. He won't speak to the media. And I just think it's wild to me. You make a trade, you trade your starting quarterback, who is your team captain, one of your team captains at the beginning of the year, Joe Flacco midseason. You trade him away to the division rival, and Joe looks pretty good again. He actually looks like a pretty solid NFL starting quarterback, who's helping them out a lot. I mean, I know they blew the game last week, but still, they're still in it and competitive. I mean, Joe looks pretty good. You blew that, right? You go to the Newsome trade. You trade away a star corner that you took in the first round in 2021. Well, I don't think Greg was a star personally. He hasn't looked like a star in Jacksonville either. Greg, I never thought was as good as people thought. Not hating on the guy. I thought he was a solid player, but I never thought he was as good. But still, it's still a starting caliber corner that they took and they traded away. I think it was a Wednesday night before the game, middle of the week, right before the game. You traded him away. And then, oh, by the way, the guy you took in the third round, that Sean Kane, former NFL quarterback, said the other day is the worst third-round pick he's seen in a while for a quarterback. He's not playing that well. And you guys are losing. You're 2-6 yet again through 8 weeks. And this guy won't speak to the media. I don't understand it. The arrogance of this franchise. They act like they know more football. They're smarter than everybody else, that they just got it all figured out, yet they're probably the worst franchise arguably in all sports. I mean, honestly, definitely in the NFL. I think they're one of the worst, arguably the worst in all the sports. They are an absolute dumpster fire right now, and this guy won't come speak to the media. And I just can't. The only reason why I see why you won't come speak to the media, because number one, the guy never says anything when he does speak to the media, other than they give you politically correct answers. They say absolutely nothing. But then also, B, I just maybe they think if whatever they say is just going to make things worse. But I think by not speaking to the media, you're just pissing the fans off more. I just think it's not a good look. Again, because this regime, everybody they have in that front office, from him to Catherine Hickman to Glenn Cook, all these people, uh, Paul DiBodesto that run around with the analytics, and we saw Catherine Hickman's preseason press conference, and all those technical stuff about the quarterback and all this stuff. Everybody was like, "What the hell is this?" I mean, all these people, they just look like a bunch of people that should not be running an NFL franchise. And they act like it, and they duck the smoke, and they walk around like there's some prestigious group of people, the Ivy League cult, and they have nothing to say to anybody. We got it all figured out, and that's that. And so I don't get it. I don't understand it. I again, you're not gonna come. You're not gonna come speak to me. Unbelievable. After the season they're having and the moves this guy's made, to not come speak to the media. And that's why everybody else in the media this week is just like sitting there like, Indian fans are like, what the hell is this? You're not going to come talk to us? But yeah, I don't get it. But Kevin Stefanski, we'll go with, right there. Right here. Here we go. He should come speak to the media too. Paulie Podesta. How about him? I saw this stat yesterday. AB doesn't want to come talk. And in case you guys don't remember either, but when AB was in the running to get the Browns GM job back in 2020, it was between him and George Payton. Well, George Payton's now the GM of the Broncos, who's helped rebuild that team up to what they become now with Bo Nix and all that stuff. And the reason why AB got the job over George Payton, according to Charles Robinson of CBS Sports, who said on 92 through the Fan that time, and I played the clip on the show many times. The reason why is because Paulie Podesta liked AB more. That's right. And so maybe both of these guys should come talk to the media. This guy, Boogeyman here, we never hear from him ever. Everybody always says we don't know what he does, yet he's outlasted everybody since he's been here in 2016. Every coach, GM, executive, player, he's outlasted everybody. But nobody ever questions. And I got to question the media members out there. I know some of you guys watch. People say we don't know what he does. How about we start doing some investigating into what he actually does? Maybe that should be, I don't know, something you should look into. I think if you really want to figure out why the Browns are as dysfunctional as they are, which we know how bad it is, but how come nobody's ever looked into this guy? I feel like myself and other YouTubers, the only people that ever truly went and looked into this guy and what he actually does, because he is very well involved with a lot of things. And I've showed many of the evidence in the clips. I mean, this is the first guy, remember after took Jed Wills in 2020, this is the first guy that came on that press conference that night and said, we got the guy we wanted all along, even though Tristan Wirfs was still on the board. And Stump Mitchell, who used to be on the running to that coach in Cleveland, who was good friends with Bill Callahan, on his show recently, last year, said that Bill Callahan told them he wanted Tristan Wirfs, and they said, okay, we'll take him. And they took Jed Wills anyway. But we don't want to look into this guy. Nothing to see there. It's a conspiracy, I hear. Yet he's outlasted everybody, and he's the first guy to talk to me. He was the first guy we took Corey Coleman back in 2016. Remember that? And he said, we got the guy we wanted all along. We traded back, and we got old Corey Coleman. How did that turn out? How did Jed Wills turn out? But this guy was the first one out there in both of those drafts saying they got the guy they wanted all along. But nobody ever holds him accountable. Don't question him, nothing. I don't get it. And there you go. You see the record right there. A whopping 56, 99, and 1 since he's been here. I mean, that's just screaming success and just excellence. I mean, we just got to have him. Just had to have him, didn't you, Jimmy? Just had to have him. Mr. San Diego. What a flop. And now let's go to Kevin. Uncle Kev, rough times are now for Uncle Kev. I actually sympathize with Uncle Kev a little bit, a little bit, teeny bit, because I think all along I've said I think Kevin, does a lot of the dirty work for the Browns. I think Kevin has been kind of handicapped a little bit, going back to Stump Mitchell. He said on his show recently too, Kevin came from Minnesota where he came from that run first philosophy. And you saw in 2020, he still had that in his head, that philosophy. That's all he knew. He was in Minnesota there for like 16 years. Which was a very respectable organization and was under Mike Zimmer and all that. I believe it was Zimmer. But he comes from that West Coast style offense with the run heavy scheme. And the first year we ran the crap out of the ball, and we were really good at it. And we won a lot of games that year. Probably the most successful season I've ever seen in my lifetime as a Browns fan. I'm 26 years old. And so what changed though? And Stump said as time went on, analytics with Paul DePodesta and that influence from the front office and going to get Deshaun Watson and, has wanted more of that air raid scheme, which I've talked about on the show. You look it up in articles, they start to tell them, we want to throw the ball more. We feel like we need to pass the ball more to win a Super Bowl nowadays. And if we're not running the ball for more than 6 yards to carry, Stump said, that's what they told him, that just abandon the run, which is insane. I mean, what team in history has ever averaged 6 yards to carry for a season? None. Not that I know. I mean, that's like never it's not like it's uncommon. It's not reality. But it doesn't mean you abandon the run either. And so I think I sympathize with Kevin there. I don't think Kevin's had the full autonomy to do what he wants to do, which is what a lot of people have said who cover the Browns. I mean, Aditi Kinkaball, the sideline reporter, she said it last year on All the Cleveland Sports Show that she doesn't believe he has the full autonomy to do what he wants to do. And I think she has a good idea about that. And so I sympathize with Kevin there. But with Kevin right now, it's becoming very clear and evident to me that Dylan Gabriel was Kevin's guy all along. Maybe this whole regime, Kevin and the regime, that was their guy all along. They took that guy in the third round. And Kevin Stefanski, I think right now, is doing a silent protest. And I mean silent because he's not going to say it out loud. He's just doing his actions are speaking for himself. And that is, he never wanted Shedeur Sanders. I don't think he really likes Shedeur like that in terms of coaching him. This guy, I don't think Kevin likes any quarterback with a personality or that could be bigger than him. Because going back to Stump, and I cannot wait to get Stump on the show because you guys go watch Stump Talk podcast. Stump's the old Browns running back coach who they fired for no reason in 2023 when they fired him, Alex Van Pelt, and they basically let Bill Callahan pushed out the door, let him go. They never recovered since those firings, by the way, either. Offense has been abysmal since, but just saying. But Stump said too, him and Kevin just didn't like Baker for some reason. He just did not like Baker Mayfield. And the writing was on the wall when Baker was here. Even though all the success they had that first year and Baker bought in and Baker did his job and was efficient and took them all the way to the divisional round, he didn't like Baker. So that's why Baker eventually got pushed out of town. And looking back at it now, the way they did Baker Mayfield in 2021 wasn't very good. I don't think it was good. They forced him out there because they wanted to basically show that they were doing some evaluation of him, even though all along Kevin didn't want him here and they were going to move off him regardless. And it's kind of funny. Baker is where he is now, and look where they are now. Interesting. But Kevin doesn't like quarterbacks' personalities. Obviously, he can't manage them either. He couldn't manage Deshaun Watson. He couldn't manage Baker Mayfield, and he can't even manage Shedeur Sanders. He won't even give the guy first team reps. What backup quarterback have you ever heard through 4, 5, 6 months into the season has never took a single rep with the first team? But this guy's a snap away from getting out there. That's insane. And so, again, I think Kevin right now, I think what Kevin's really upset about is not only that draft pick, but I think Kevin's also really salty about, like Mike Tomlin pointed out, trading Joe Flacco in the middle of the season. I don't think Kevin wanted to trade Joe Flacco under any circumstance. I think Kevin wanted to hold on to Joe as long as he could, probably till mid-November at the earliest, and then eventually make the switch. I don't think Kevin wanted to get rid of Joe at all. And I've seen people throwing out the theory online about, back in 2018 when DePodesta was here, it's kind of the Moneyball strategy, like in the movie. We had Carlos Hyde on the roster. Nick Chubb was behind him. Hugh Jackson did not want to play Nick Chubb. He wanted to keep playing Carlos Hyde. The front office went ahead and said, we'll trade Carlos Hyde out of here. So now you have to play Nick Chubb, right? It's like in the movie when they wanted they had the star or the all-star whatever player for the A's. They traded him out and put in the guy Mr. Moneyball wanted. And that's the same philosophy here because the guy that movie's about, he's in the Browns now as a chief strategy officer, as we saw earlier with his record. But again, I think Kevin I think there's a clear divide in BEREA between him and the front office now, or maybe not or somebody, whether it's Paul DePodesta, maybe not Andrew Berry. I feel like Andrew Berry is just a middleman, but clearly something's going on in BEREA, some type of divide. Kevin, I get the vibe, is not happy at all. And quite honestly, guys, this is just pure speculation on my part. I wouldn't be surprised by the end of the year, or if stuff got bad enough mid-season. What if Kevin Stefanski and the Browns just said, you know what, this ain't working out. Maybe it's best we just go separate ways. It would not surprise me because I don't know how much longer Kevin's going to be the bad guy because Kevin right now is the bad guy publicly for the Browns. Now, do I think Kevin deserves all the blame and as much heat as he's getting? No, he's not the main problem in Cleveland. It goes deeper than Kevin. But, you know, how much longer is he going to go? And his team's not doing well. They're not very well coached. You know, Kevin's a nice guy. I think he's a good coach, but Kevin just doesn't have the personality to manage, I think, a football team, in my opinion. I don't think, or at least if he's going to call plays and be a head coach, I don't think he can manage that either. And I've said that many, many times. I think he should at least give up play calling, but I just don't think Kevin has the personality right now to manage what this team needs. And you saw Myles Garrett on Sunday, sitting on the bench by himself at the end of the game. You saw him throw his helmet, was very upset. And it comes to find out from some of the people kind of pieced together from Myles' press conference after the game, I think Myles is upset because he got benched, because Kevin took the defense out of the game and Myles got pissed and he didn't want to come out of the game. And so where does that go now? I mean, this is just, it's just one thing after another with the Browns. It never stops. And then the cherry on top of all this dysfunction going on, all this stuff. And now you got Myles trade rumors back again too. And obviously that's a very complex thing because they just gave him all that contract money. But, Albert BEREA said yesterday that there is ways around it where they could trade him if Myles pushed the buttons. I know I think Myles is getting traded in the middle of this season. No, hell no. It's too complicated. But after the season, I think Myles is going to definitely sit down with Jimmy Haslam and let him know how he feels and thinks. And I'm going to tell you right now, if Jimmy Haslam chooses this regime over Myles Garrett, oh boy, that is crazy to me. Because what has this regime done to be chosen over Myles Garrett? Now, I get from some circumstances, though, there was a rumor today about the Eagles offering 3 first-round picks, right? If a team comes in with a monster haul as bad as the Browns, I mean, Myles Garrett had a career day Sunday. 5 sacks, and it didn't even matter. They still lost by 3 touchdowns. So they have a lot of holes in the roster. Unless a team comes in with a monstrous offer, then maybe consider the trade. But other than that, I'm not trading Myles Garrett. But I also don't want this regime in charge of managing that. Whatever draft picks we get back, I don't want them making the picks. I don't want them doing anything anymore. The damage is done. They've done enough damage. I don't trust them anymore. I don't want them here anymore. Get them out. And that's where I'm at with it. But, on top of all this dysfunction going on this week, the real cherry on top is this. Hey, we're going to send out an email to our season ticket holders about the upcoming stadium we're building in 2029. And the prices for this, I mean, you guys see some of these prices. The PSL price is $131,000. I mean, I saw last night a standing room ticket was like almost $2,000 for a standing room ticket at this new stadium. I mean, you see here's some of the stuff they sent out. You guys have probably seen all over Twitter all week. I mean, this is insane. Annual ticket price, $55. And again, this is like club level, right? This one right here. So a one-time PSL is $16,000 and an annual ticket price of $5,500. But then that's light money in terms of and lowered amounts compared to some of the amounts we've seen thrown out there. I mean, guys, we saw one yesterday. I saw there was a certain part of the stadium they showed. And who's buying one ticket, right? Most people are buying 2 tickets, right? If you have a husband and wife, they want 2 tickets. I saw something yesterday that if a husband and wife wanted if they paid the PSL and then the annual ticket price for each seat, it would be almost a total of $300,000 for a ticket, for 2 tickets for a season, for 8 games. And with the product right now, who the hell in their right mind would pay $8,000 to go watch that shit? Whoever pays that, what corporation's going to pay that? Why should some of these corporations invest into it? Because ain't anybody paying that shit to go watch this product. And for Jimmy Haslam to come out there this week after all this stuff going on, your GM won't come speak to the media, but hey, let me send out this email. And here's our ticket prices for the stadium that are absolutely outrageous. And oh, by the way, the team's 2-6 yet again through 8 weeks. I mean, again, the arrogance, I think they think we're stupid. I'm really starting to wonder, do these guys really care all truly about winning? Or is Jimmy have a bunch of people around him now who had this whole, like I call it, the analytical scheme. I mean, they're just making all this money, right? They just make all this money. They know Browns fans are going to show up and pay the dollars because they always have. Browns fans love their team just as much as any team in sports, really, all over, in any sport. And there's no more, I don't know, any more loyal fans than the Browns fans. And I think they know that. And they know what they're doing. This seems like a hustle. We don't care. It don't matter what product we put out there. We're going to keep having this analytical crap going on in Cleveland, running our team through a computer and a TI-84 calculator. And oh, by the way, we know fans are going to pay these outrageous prices, and we'll make all the money off it. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the city tax too for this stadium is like over $600 million. And this is what they want to put out in their face. I mean, this is insane, unbelievable. I don't have much to say, guys. I'm kind of speechless what's going on right now. I mean, I knew it was this bad, BEREA. You know, I told you guys last year on this show, if you've watched my channel going back to last year, I've broken down a lot of this stuff that you're now seeing come to light this year, of all the dysfunction behind the scenes, who the people are that are really the problem, and, you know, the philosophy that's a problem. I broke all this stuff down last year, and now it's coming to light this year. But even I'm still amazed at just how bad it still gets each week. And it just gets worse and worse and worse. I'm speechless still. Teflon, good to see it. Big bag for me. Said Browns consistently blow ass. I'm tired of it. Yeah, they sure do. BeerTube 86. Andrew and Kevin needs to go. I'm with you, brother. He does need. They both need to go. He said trade Myles, trade Judy. You can trade Judy. I'm fine with that. DG sucks. He does not look like an NFL quarterback at all. Param John, good to see you. Jimmy is smoking crack if he thinks Kevin and Andrew get a pass. Yeah, let me tell you something. If he gives these guys a pass, if he rolls it back with these guys, and shout out to Zach Jackson today, who was on the All Cleveland Sports Show. He says he believes now that there's no way they can bring these guys back, which I thought was pretty telling because Zach's pretty plugged in. And, you know, I bet Zach in the past years ago, he was a good friend of my high school coach, and I got to meet a nice guy, but he's very plugged in. He knows what he said. When he says stuff like that, that raised my eyes a little bit because maybe the temperature's changing in BEREA. You know, I think a lot of it's too. People think, I think like people like Zach who cover the team and have insight, and just anybody is sitting back looking at this and going, how in the hell could you bring this back after all this? But if he runs this back and keeps shoving those ticket prices to that stadium down our face, I think you have a lot of people that are going to say they're done with the Browns, honestly. I just, that's crazy. Because it kind of tells you what he thinks about you. What if you have a family you want to take them to? Right, exactly. We're going to pay a house mortgage basically and a car payment to go to the Browns for 8 games and watch them lose probably 6 out of the 8 games. I mean, who in the hell would pay that? And oh, by the way, I saw the parking prices too. The parking prices are outrageous. I mean, it is insane. I can't imagine what concessions is going to be. I mean, my gosh. Joseph Michael. Hey, what's up, Rodney? Good to see you. Joseph Michael, QB1. I hope we're getting there, Rodney. I hope we're getting there. I want to see 12 out there. God's Love, 79-28. Haslam is definitely on something. Never seen an owner as so messy, manipulative, hiding in the background, throwing stones. Wow, Joseph's blowing his gasket. Yeah, I'm on fire tonight, Rodney. I'm tired of this crap, Rodney. You know, you guys who are followed here from as Shador fans, you know, you guys are probably amazed too, just seeing this. This is stuff we had to put up with as Browns fans our whole lives. This is how bad it gets. So now I'm glad you guys can feel our pain now because, my gosh. But I hope Shador is the guy that can finally break the whole thing up, honestly. You know, I hope Shador could be the guy that can really come in here and play well, and Haslam has no choice but to stick with him, listen to Myles, and get these guys out of here and get some people in here that know how to actually run a football franchise and get us back to some normalcy and some real, you know, just we just want good football. We just want, you know, people that know what they're doing. I mean, it's just, I don't know what else to say. It's mind-boggling how dysfunctional and bad they really are. And it really makes you start. That's why it makes you start to question, like, what is their real motives here? You know what I mean? Like, at some point, you're taking people's money. You know, I thought Jay Crawford said a great thing yesterday about that stadium with the ticket price thing. You know, he goes, man, when I used to go to games back in the 80s growing up, The guy who was a welder, down the road, he can come to the game. He would save his money or get extra overtime money to go to the game. And the electricity in the stadium back then, because they had just all common people, all there for the same, just wanting to have fun, cheering on the Browns, just good, wholesome people, family people that worked their tails off. They could go to the games. And the electricity in that old stadium, municipal stadium, was unbelievable. But now with these ticket prices, they can't come to the stadium. Nobody could really go to the stadium unless it's all corporate people. But I don't know what corporations are going to pay that kind of money, because the Browns aren't hot in the streets right now. They're just not. I mean, they're not. I mean, they're not a trendy team. They're a joke. They're a laughing stock, the biggest laughing stock in all sports. So who the hell's going to pay those prices? I mean, it is insane that they thought that was okay to put that out there, especially right now. Unbelievable. I mean, drugs have to be involved here, man. Like, there's no way in hell a sane person thinks he is okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I don't know Jimmy's personal life, so I'm not religion either. But I'm just reading a comment. But I don't know what Jimmy's thinking. I would have to think of myself. I think Jimmy, though, is still smart enough to realize that he's got to make a splash this offseason. You have Shedeur on the sideline. You have Shedeur there. Excuse me, your family was on your grandkids were on the sideline with 12 jerseys 2 weeks ago. Jimmy Haslam clearly took Shedeur Sanders himself. I got to think that's still going to be his guy. Maybe his idea is let's sit him for a year like Pat Mahomes, and we'll bring in the right coach and regime to build around him and Myles Garrett. If they truly believe Shedeur, if he believes Shedeur is the guy he can move with going forward, obviously Shedor's generated a lot of money for him, over $300 million in revenue already. So I'm sure any owner would want to get rid of that. Right? So I don't know what's going on, but I think Jimmy's got to make a splash. And let me tell you something. If you want to put asses in those seats in that new stadium, Shedeur Sanders definitely will do it. Corporations will definitely spend money for that. If you got somebody, a big name or a notable name coaching your franchise and a good regime, and maybe a president of football operations you put up there, now you got something rolling. But if he keeps this as is, which I think I'm like Zach Jackson, I don't see Jimmy, as much as dysfunctional as stuff has been, stuff we're talking about tonight. I have a hard time believing he's going to run this back next year. I think it would be a terrible, terrible mistake, and I think he would lose a lot in the end. If Shedeur played with a horrific offensive line, wouldn't he be equipped to navigate a weak front? I mean, I see what you're saying, Roddy. I know he's used to that. I think he has the confidence and the mindset to handle that, but he's in the NFL now. These athletes are a lot faster than what he played in college. So I think but I wouldn't want to put him in that situation, honestly. That's not fair to him. You know what I mean? I want Shedeur to be able to go in there and actually get comfortable and flourish. Let's put a run game on. Let's run the ball more consistently. Right? We got Quinshon Judkins and you got 3 backs you can use, including Judkins. You got 2 tight ends. Like, let's make things simple. Let's simplify things for him first. You know what I mean? I don't want to just throw him out there and say, okay, go save the day. That's not fair to him. I don't think that's fair to any quarterback, really, especially a rookie. But I think as a head coach, you're doing your player a disservice doing that. But I think, could he overcome it? Yeah. I think what Shedeur, forget on the field, I think what Shedeur can bring to this team is just a sense of refreshment, a confidence again. Like, I think he can really light a fire in that locker room. I saw the thing yesterday where people were saying, if you have, I think it was all the Cleveland Sports Show, shout out to them. They said, you have one game for your life. Would you take Bailey Zappi, Dillon Gabriel, or Shedeur Sanders? And some people said Bailey Zappi because he's an experienced NFL quarterback. I would take Shedeur because I feel like if I put Shedeur out there, the rest of that team would rise up and there'd be a different energy. And that's why I would put Shedeur out there ultimately. Because that's what they need right now. They need a culture changer, somebody to spark something in that locker room. Because it's as bad as I've seen it. I remember the 0-17 or 0-16 season, 1-15. I think this is heading towards. It might be worse because the expectations they just had these previous seasons were failure. They had high expectations. They were all complete flops each season. They didn't reach their goals. I think this might be worse where this is heading. But I don't know. But that's my opening rant. That's all I got to say about these things. Sorry to keep my guests waiting. Appreciate you guys waiting patiently back there. I'm going to bring him up here now. Joining me now is the man, the myth, the legend, Sir Michael Antonais. Mike, what's happening?
Hello, beautiful people. Hello.
Hello. Mike, I appreciate you waiting patiently. I didn't
no problem.
want to rant that long, Mike, but I did. I just had to let it off my chest. And also joining us tonight, Mike, always keeping it real. He's got something to say about the stadium prices. I know that. Jersey's in the house.
Some son of a bitch up there. I don't know if it's Jimmy. I don't know who it is. Somebody's done big blow, major blow, and they're fucking brain dead to think that they could pawn those kind of prices off on the public, to have the nerve. Whoever is advising Jimmy Haslam on this is got to be brain dead. I mean, they have got to have done every type of drug you could think of.
Okay, let's not go there.
I mean, I'm just saying. Here, somebody's talking about Jimmy smoking crack, but this shit, this is mind-boggling. It don't even seem real. It seems like a joke. And I'm like Garrett Bush said last night. It is here. I'm all for profitability and capitalism and having the right to offer something and people having the right to say no. But I'm with Garrett Bush. It becomes a point where it becomes just straight up unethical. And this is just absolutely unethical. It is a travesty to the game of football for what football has always been about. The sport, the brotherhood, sons taking their dad or father, sons going, brothers going, just the common man. Football is a common man sport. This is not, if there's any sport that's a common man sport, it's a game of football. And to do this to this fan base, and I don't know who said it, was Jada said last night or even Garrett Bush, Cleveland is second in poverty in the country, only to Detroit. It's at some point it's going to blow up in their face. And I told you last night, I'm out on the Browns. I am no longer a fan of this. I won't. I don't think I'll ever go to a game as long as if this happens and they continue on with this ownership group. I'm never going to a game. I don't care if somebody gives me free tickets to a Lowe's. I don't give a shit what. I'm not going to a game. I'm not buying apparel. I support the players. You know what I mean? I don't blame any of the players, and I might watch a game just so I can watch the players. But as far as the Cleveland Browns, they will not be my team anymore as long as this group's in play. It is. I love the game of football, and I always talk about this idiot Mike McDaniels, how he's a travesty to the sport. This is a travesty to the sport, to the game of football. What they are doing in Cleveland. Get the public to pay $650 million towards it, and then here, by the way, here, guys, get you 8 games to a club seat next year for you and your wife. Just a quick $280. $280? No, 280 stacks, $280,000 to go to 8 games. Who in the hell would do that? I don't know who would be dumber, the person to pay or the person just even dumb enough to even offer, to think that there's 70,000 people that can fork up this kind of money. It's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. And they ought to be ashamed of themselves. And I wish one of them bastards, if any of them were ever watching this show, get your asses up here and come up here and defend yourselves and tell us why it should be a bargain to come up to Brook Park and pay that price for those tickets. It's a shame. It's absolutely a shame. Or I can't say enough of it. So just too much blow involved. I mean, serious blow going on up in BEREA.
Mike, I guess we'll start there. What's your thoughts on the ticket prices?
Yeah, I mean, it's incredibly disappointing. I don't know how What horrible timing also to just release this. Like, I don't know if it's something they like legally had to do or like, I don't know. I don't know if it's like just something they have to do because like the optics of it are fucking awful. Excuse my language, but like the optics are horrible. Like the team is awful. Like you got rumors of a coaching change. The face of your franchise is slamming his helmet down. And I don't blame Myles one bit. I'm going to go off on a small tangent. Everybody that I'm seeing, like being like, oh, you took the money, Myles. You took the money, Myles. Yeah, he took the fucking money. Because at this other, like on the other end, like, you know, like he really, there's so many reports out that he really didn't want to leave Cleveland. He truly loves the city. Bro has ingratiated himself in the city. Myles Garrett does so much for the city of Cleveland, has ingratiated to the point where he's now like a minority owner of the Cleveland Cavaliers, bought a large stake from Dan Gilbert in the Cleveland Cavaliers because that's how much he gives a damn. He loves the city of Cleveland. He continues to give back. Yeah, he wants to play for a contender. Maybe he didn't see that. Maybe they did tell him a plan, and maybe he believed it in at first. But like, there are obviously cracks going on. Like, so yeah, Myles took the money for Browns fans, for the city. Like, maybe it wasn't all this regime. Maybe the belief wasn't there. Maybe it was being like, oh, this is my home. You know what I mean? Like, do not blame Myles. Myles just had 5 sacks and they lost by fucking 28. Of course he's pissed. Like, that dude's given everything he has. He's almost 30, or he is 30. I'm not sure. And he's got probably 5 good years left in the NFL. And, you know, what does he have to show for it? And he's a Hall of Fame caliber player who's right up there with like the Lawrence Taylors, the Bruce Smiths of the world, one of the greatest players to ever play the game of football. Certainly one of the greatest players to ever wear a Browns uniform. And it is a goddamn shame. You know, so anybody saying that this is on Myles, not on Myles. Myles Garrett, you know, he's the best player we've had since Joe Thomas. He's a Hall of Fame level player. And he might be the best defensive player the Browns have ever had, period.
Call out his leadership too.
Yeah, calling out of his leadership. He's pissed.
Can you stop the bullshit, people? You don't know what the hell you're talking about. You clearly never fucking played football in your life. Just stop with the shit. All right? I'm tired of these assholes out here spewing all this garbage, caping up for these losers in the front office and the sidelines. I mean, just stop with the crap. I'm with Mike in Jersey. When Myles Garrett came out there and said he's tired of losing, guess what happened, Mike? They came out the next week and played as inspired as they played all season and won the game by a lot at home. So clearly what he did worked.
Would these fucking morons have been happier if he was out there smiling and laughing because he got 5 sacks? No, you'd be ridiculing the shit out of him. I know I would be, because I'd be like, I don't care about your sacks, asshole. We just got our asses blown out. You know what I mean? So absolutely he should have been slamming his damn helmet. And the fact that he got 5 sacks, which I don't know if I've ever seen in my lifetime, 5 sacks in a game, and he's that pissed off out there that he's throwing his damn helmet. I love it. Absolutely. Absolutely. These freaking assholes in this front office. Look what you're doing to this man's career. I mean, you can't be in the NFL getting that many sacks and that many pressures and that many tackles. You can't play at that level that he plays at consistently and have this career that he's had so far without putting in the work. I mean, this man has put in so much work. And these players, I've said this over and over and over, these players deserve better. You know what I mean? They're beating the living piss out of their bodies. Yes, they're highly paid, but hey, they're getting their cut of the revenue, which they should. And a lot of guys probably deserve more. You know what I mean? But
hey, Mike, have we ever heard any teammate at Myles Garrett anything with any teammate ever?
What do you say that last part one more time?
Have we ever heard any rumor or seen anything that Myles Garrett having beef with a teammate ever?
No, never. You know, like he even came out when there was that Jadeveon Clowney drama, being like, "I love JD. I don't know why I don't know why he's saying these things. Like, if you guys remember that Clowney was like talking shit on Myles Garrett, which made no sense. Oh my God, Jadeveon Clowney. I've never met a guy who's just so good at the game, but just hates football. Like,
But I'm just like, at
anyway.
all his teammates, we've never heard
No.
anybody like really not like Myles.
Everybody loves Myles Garrett.
Exactly.
The dude's a great guy. Like, he's not just like a great football player. Everyone I've ever met that has said they met Myles Garrett or had a conversation with him, every teammate that has ever talked about him, even from college, say that he's just a great freaking dude on top of being just one of the best football players you've ever watched. And
I just can't get over too. Like, I just can't get over that. People that want to point out Myles and act like they're holding him accountable. You need to be a leader. How about you hold people in charge accountable? How about the coach? The locker room's. It's chaos right now. It's clear as day. How about you hold the front office and the owner? How about you hold them accountable for once? How about Boogeyman, who's 66 or 56 since 99 and won since he's been here? How about we hold him accountable? We want to talk about Myles Garrett, who's probably the only bright spot in this organization right now in terms of like a big name.
You know who's bitching about Myles Garrett? Typical, the idiots just like D. Podesta, Barry, people who've never even freaking played football, people who are completely detached from the game, who have no understanding of the game. These are the same kinds of people that are bitching about Myles Garrett playing a combat sport. He's locked in. He's emotional as hell, which he should be. That's how you have to play this game. Otherwise, you get your head knocked off. And you want him to get out there and just act pleasant. That's not the game. These types of idiots are ruining this game. Joseph, you and I were sitting here watching high school football last night, and we're watching. We're comparing teams today, and we were watching a team all the way back in what was that, 2013?
2016 we watched too.
The difference in the physicality is unbelievable. That 2013 team, although it was nowhere near as talented as the other team we were watching, the physicality of play was unbelievable. It was just glaring. And so the sport has just been sissified over time, and it's just slowly happening. And the NFL's to blame with the way they officiate games.
I think the biggest problem, though, is the influence of analytics has really. They are really these analytical people, and I'm not saying analytics are even bad. Analytics is just stats. That's a fancy term for stats, which have always been around. But this analytics stuff has really taken over team sports. I mean, basketball, football in particular, and baseball, obviously, it's been really taking over baseball for a while. But basketball, and now you're seeing it football, this analytic approach that these teams are using now, I don't think it's any good. I'm sure if you go to all the franchise that are most consistently successful, they don't use as much analytics as some of these teams that are that bad, like the Browns. They don't.
Well, because analytics and football, people who have football IQ, who it doesn't mix. I mean, yes, you use it as a tool. Okay, I understand that, but these people, these guys, these D. Podestas and all these different peoples in different front offices of sports, they don't jive together. You don't take like put D. Podesta with Bill Belichick or
Nick Saban.
A Nick Saban. Okay, they don't need all that shit. You know what I mean? They could literally eyeball. I mean, they could just sit there and watch a player and know what they got. You know what I mean? And so that's the problem. It's just it doesn't jive. And the Browns are the biggest example of that. Is you got all these Ivy Leaguers in there that think they're smarter than everybody else, and they're hell bent on proving it, and they just look like the biggest dumbasses in all of sports. And they're sure they're pretty smart guys, but here, like Elon Musk said, he's the richest guy in the world, maybe one of the smartest guys in the world. He says he said one of the greatest things. money can buy you an education, but it can't buy you intelligence. You know what I mean? These guys have zero football intelligence. They
Well,
just have.
I mean, it's yeah, yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's like we saw before the season with the assistant GM, Catherine Hickman. She used to be a lawyer. She was an intern for the Canadian football team in Montreal and worked her way up the thing, which, great. But this is our assistant GM, and she's up there giving those weird. And they all talk the same. They all talk the same in BEREA. Her, Andrew Berry, Kevin Stefanski, Paulie, but they all get the same answers. They use certain words and they say things like, like everything's very like, like here, we know what we're doing. We're not going to talk on it publicly, but yeah, we got it all figured out. Like we got an idea. This is how we evaluate the blah blah blah. Remember that press conference went viral with her? She used like certain words. It was like some scientific breakdown of quarterback play, and I'm thinking, what the hell is this? Like it's like robotic how they talk.
Like minds always stick together. You know what I mean?
And they ran out all the people that didn't think like them.
Right.
And so there's a place for these people. You know what I mean? Just like her being an attorney, I'm sure there's things she's very good at. And there's a place for her in the organization. That's the key, is getting people in the right positions per their strengths. And
I'm not even hating on her or anybody else. Hey, congrats to them for getting the job. I blame the people that hired them.
Here, I think maybe Andrew Berry is good at finding ways to make money work. Okay. There's a spot for him then. Okay. Somebody should be saying to him, okay, this is who we're going to pursue. This is our goals with tell us how this money is going to work. You know what I mean? How can we make these salaries work? You got to have football. The people doing player evaluations and managing operations on the field have to be football people. You know what I mean? I
don't think people realize how much years of experience those people have put into the game either. Like a lot of these coaches start off at GAs in college.
Absolutely. My gosh,
and they work their way up. And GAs do a lot of grunt work, but they learn a lot. Let me tell you. I mean, my gosh, it takes a long time to learn that much knowledge as they know. So that's why you want those people making this. Like you said, I agree with you, and I know Mike agrees too. There's places for people like those the people we're talking about in an organization somewhere. They can find a role for. I'm sure they're very good at certain things they do, and they're very intelligent people, and maybe very nice people too. But when it comes, I feel like we just have a bunch of yes men around one philosophy in Cleveland, and it's like Rodney said, it's Moneyball football. And ultimately, at the end of the day, this goes down to Jimmy Haslam. Until Jimmy Haslam finally says enough of this, nothing's ever going to change. And you'll just keep sitting there telling people to come pay this PSL price and all this stuff for your stadium? That's crazy.
I want to know who's advising him on this, because here Jimmy Haslam's this isn't his cash flow. You know what I mean? The Cleveland Browns are not it's a hobby. So the cash flow is obviously the service stations and shit like that, whatever the hell else he owns, but mainly the oil and service stations. But people are advising him on this, and whoever's advised him on these ticket sales it's insane. If I'm him, I'm just kind of like, okay. As soon as this guy leaves the room that tells me this shit, I read this guy's email or whatever the meeting we have, I'm like, we got to get this guy fired. This guy needs fired, or he needs his head examined. I'm going to check with, if I'm Jimmy Haslam, I'm just going to start inquiring with every other fucking owner and other GMs from other teams and be like, do you guys think this is possible? Can I get your opinion on this shit? Like, whoever's advising him on this shit and telling him, hey, this is what we're going to be able to sell these tickets for this, is out of their damn mind. And when is he going to just? Here we sit up here and we bitch about Jimmy Haslam. He's obviously not a stupid guy. He's a gosh darn billionaire. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He's a very good businessman. But when does, like you said, when does he say, okay, this shit I can make way more money in the long term, you know, or I could actually win. I could actually win. I could be one of those owners that actually wins a Super Bowl if I play my cards right. I could just not be an owner. I could be a successful owner, and I could be the envy of other owners because my team won. You know what I mean? I mean,
Mhm.
there's got to be some kind of ego, I would think, in
Well, yeah, and
winning.
here, that's why when I said earlier, I said when I referenced we got losers in BEREA, it's because that's what they
Well, they're
are.
legit. Well,
They are. It's not an
that's not being
insult.
facetious.
No,
That's not
that's
being
just
that's
that's what they
yeah. That's they're legitimate losers.
right. And so you would think they would want to. He would want to get better. Like Jimmy, you got to look at the mirror and think this is not working.
Yeah,
Like it's time to move on. Look at the record on the screen. Look, 56, 99, and 1 since 2016. Mike, he's got to move on.
Yeah. No, I agree. Like here, I'm if getting rid of Depot means getting rid of Andrew, then unfortunately so be it. I'm still Andrew's the only one I might want to keep. Like Kevin, I mean, if he really can't deal with big QB personalities, and that is the crux of the situation, and that's why Baker didn't work, and that's why like he's like hesitant to start Shador. If that is the truth of the matter, and that's why he's not starting these people, and it's not just because like that he doesn't think they're ready or what have you, like that's unacceptable. Like you're a coach, like you're an NFL coach. You have 53 players in that locker room, all of which have their own unique personality and they're competitors at the highest level. Some of them aren't going to be the most humble of dudes. Name me a star wide receiver that isn't kind of a diva. Like it is what it is. You're going to get it.
What did you
Like
think of his comments to not to cut you off, but to add to that, but the receiver for to go right there. What did you think of his comments about getting Jerry Judy the ball more? He said, "Yeah, I wish Judy got the ball more." And
that
everybody
was
said,
wild, by the way.
"You're
I
the
don't even
offensive
know what to
coordinator."
make of that. I don't even know what to make of that. Like I don't even begin to know what to make of that. Like, yeah, I'm frustrated we didn't get Jerry Judy the ball more. Either he was supposed to, like he was a target, and Dylan Gabriel just kept fucking missing him.
And if that's the
Which
case, why are you bringing
one
back Dylan Gabriel after the bye?
exactly, or two, that's like the most dumbass comment ever because he's the head coach who makes the game plan. Like my only thought is like because I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. My thought is, oh, Jerry Judy was supposed to be targeted, a certain number of times where he was like the main, like the first read or whatever, and Dylan just kept missing him, or just wasn't getting the ball to him. And if that's the case, yeah, you can't keep Dylan in there. I would have pulled Dylan. I know Shador Sanders' back was hurt, but I would have pulled Dylan after that fucking safety, that intentional grounding safety. That was atrocious. I don't even know what the hell he was doing.
That's one of the worst throws I've seen. Go ahead.
Mike, he couldn't see. When I watched that, I don't think he could see. I think he thought there should have been someone there. He just couldn't see.
Yeah.
He just couldn't see over the line.
Yeah. And yeah, no, I'm tired of the Dylan Gabriel experiment. Maybe he's a good spot starter. Maybe he'll be a good backup. I don't know. You got him for a number of years no matter what. But it's time to throw in Shador, see what you have there, evaluate it, if he can be your franchise level guy. If so, awesome, fantastic. You can just draft a tackle and a wide receiver, and then another wide receiver, and then another tackle, and then a guard, and then a center, and another guard.
Let's go there real quick on that topic. I want to get your thoughts on that. What do you think's going on right now? You guys heard what I thought. I think there's a real beef in BEREA right now with Stefanski clearly and some people in that organization. I think he's pissed off about the Joe Flacco trade, and I don't think Shador was ever really his guy. I mean, the fact that Shador Mike has not gotten a single first team rep and he's a snap away from going in the game is mind boggling. But I don't know how he's going to get prepared, but what's your thoughts on that whole situation right now with Kevin and just that whole? There seems like something's going on.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I don't know, man. Like it's starting to like track a little bit. He doesn't like big personalities. Like I don't like that shit. Like I don't like coaches with ego. Like I thought Kevin Stefanski was an egoless robot of a man, and that's why I kind of liked him. I was like, the dude is just coach, gonna coach football. That's it. He's gonna give you the coach speak. He's gonna try and put his players in the best situation. Doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
And it's becoming more and more evident. And this even goes back to the Odell stuff too. Like he just doesn't like players with an ego, and that's like piss poor bullshit. Like, dude, you're a head coach in the NFL. You're going to run into people with egos. Some of the best players in the NFL have a massive ego. Look at the two best wide receivers in the NFL, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. Those dudes have the biggest egos ever. But that's what you get with that caliber of player, man. You just got to learn how to deal with it. If he can't deal with that, then he doesn't know how to manage a locker room. And if he can't manage a locker room, that's a really scary thing. That's another thing. I can never gauge the locker room with him. Like after the Miami game, I was like, oh, maybe he's okay. Because Joel said they were never fighting. There was never infighting. People are standing behind him. We'd run through a wall for Kevin. And then other times, like players just say some wild shit in a post-game press conference. And I'm like, why doesn't, like, what is going on? Like, does this guy even know what's going on? Or does he let the locker room just go willy-nilly? Like, I just can't gauge it. I can't gauge anything. And at first, I didn't mind it. And now it's like, his coach speak is like falling on just the deafest of ears, like we got to be better. I got to coach better. We lose as a team. We will be better. Blase, je ne sais quoi bullshit. Like, I'm just so like, come on, man. You got to say more than that. We're 2-6. There's drama everywhere. I can't wait for the season to be over. And we have how many? We have 9 games left. Oh. And I'm like, I love this team, man. Like, I love this team. Like, I cannot wait for the season to start every year. And this is the shit that I have to watch. And now it's like, I'm not even halfway through the season. And I'm like, get me to the draft, bro. Just get me to the draft. Like, that's where I'm at. And that sucks. Like, I did not expect us to be world beaters. I totally didn't. I was like, our ceiling is maybe 8-9, a losing season, or closest you can get to 500. And honestly, if the offense was a little better, I think we would be there, or a 7-win team, maybe. They don't even have to be good, just not the worst with this defense. You just can't have the worst NFL offense. But guess what we do? And it's just piss poor, man. Like, I expected more out of Kevin. I really did. And that's why I thought we'd stick with him and see the plan through, draft a quarterback. But you can't have the worst rated fucking offense. And Andrew Berry's not innocent in this either. That's why I'm still waffling on him. This past draft was excellent. I loved it. But to not look at O-line and be like, hey, we have an aging O-line. We have some problems at left tackle and right tackle because Jack Conklin, while great, is always hurt. Like, to not prioritize
or receiver, and you took a undersized quarterback in the 3rd round, who might be the worst 3rd round pick I've seen in a long time.
Yeah. So the Browns didn't address offensive line, didn't address wide receiver, and here, other than the Dylan Gabriel pick, overall, I like our draft a lot. Every other player is fantastic. Jury's still out on Shador, but I'm hoping. But like, man, it's just so frustrating as a fan, and as someone who's supported this front office and this coach pretty fervently. I mean, you guys know. I mean, shit, I've been on the panel, defending these guys for a long time, and it's just like it's become indefensible. And that's a shame. And if
Well,
I think
the
that, and
proof
I'm
is
just
in
a
the
guy
pudding.
on the internet, but like
The proof is in the pudding, though. You can't.
Yeah.
It's undeniable anymore. That's why I was saying. I was telling you this stuff last year. You and I used to talk about it, remember? And and sometimes I was like you. I'm like, I don't know. I try to get people the benefit of the doubt, but then it's like they're showing me everything that we kind of knew was kind of going
Yeah.
on. You know what I mean? And to hear a former coach like Stump Mitchell keep blowing the whistle on their ass is crazy.
Yeah.
But Stump's saying it for a reason. I mean, they've never recovered since those firings. Never.
Yeah.
They lost their identity when that's the day they did that. And
I
it's a
agree.
shame because those guys didn't deserve to get fired either. They did a damn good job.
Sometimes,
Sorry for the long rant.
sometimes I
good.
wonder, is that what Haslam's doing? Because he took so much heat from like changing people out. You remember that when he changed, there was just constant change out. People were bitching about
Yeah,
that.
people said it's a revolving door every 2-3 years.
Yeah, it is that what he's done with this? Is said, you know what? I want to ride it out so nobody can say I changed it out too quick.
It's been 6 years. I'll give
Yeah.
Haslam the benefit of the doubt for once. For once. He really
Yeah.
tried with these guys. 6 years is a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Right. I mean,
And
I
you
mean,
made
gosh,
a huge, humongous trade in the middle of it.
Yeah.
I mean, if we know this shit, he's got to know this shit. I mean, my gosh, he was a minority owner with the Steelers too. I mean, he was part of a. He now has the worst organization in sports, but he was a minority owner, which I don't care. Here, doesn't matter. You say what you want about the Steelers. You don't like the Steelers. Who cares? It's the best run sports organization in the last 50 years. There's not in the last 50 years since the 70s. There has been no team ran better than the Pittsburgh Steelers, and so, and and he was a partner with the Rooneys. I mean, he had to learn something. My God, so maybe that's just what he's done here. Is said, you know what, I'm gonna write it out. Maybe he felt like you know, maybe I'm just trying to be a little fair. Maybe he looked back and said, you know what, you can't change people out that fast. I got to stick with something. I got to give it time. You know what I mean? And he's given it enough time with this shit. So hopefully that's the case, and hopefully this is it, man. But he's got to start with Deep Hadassah. My gosh, that's the biggest culprit in all this shit. And he's the common denominator. He's the constant thing from the very beginning. Is that guy? So get rid of that man and put someone in there that actually knows how to run a football team. And we might actually have a good team in Cleveland then. And as far as Kevin Stefanski, you're known by your actions, not by what you say. Kevin says all the right things, but does all the wrong things. You know what I mean? He, that's what this guy's been his whole tenure here. He always is diplomatic and says the right thing, and looks like when he's on the sideline, he's just pleasant Kevin. But when you look at his decisions and what he does, and uh, the locker room. I mean, we're not even in the locker room, but we know the locker room. That's how you know. You know what I mean? He's just not good at what he does.
I think he's
So,
liked but not respected.
and you want to be respected, not liked. You know what I mean? Mike, you've heard me say that many times, have you not?
Yep.
And there's probably been a lot of guys that I've managed over the years. They didn't like me, but I think most of them respected me. You know what I mean? And that's what I learned a long time ago. I'd rather be respected than liked. So that's you probably hit the nail right on the head with that.
We'll end with this one, and Mike, I'll go to you first. We'll end with the Andrew Berry situation. Obviously, not talking to the media. First time in all the years since they've been here. Every bye week, he's always spoken to the media, and this one's more interesting, Mike, because he made a couple big trades. During the season, he traded Greg Newsome. Was it the Thursday night before the game on Sunday, which is a big trade? Obviously, they took Greg in the first round in 2021 and was a starting caliber corner for them. And then they traded one of their team captains and starting quarterback, Joe Flacco, to a divisional rival, and he looks pretty good again. And obviously we saw another quarterback used to be with the Browns. Baker Mayfield looks like a top 3 quarterback in football right now, top 5 at least. Some people even say number 1 the way he's playing this year. But why do you think, Mike, he's ducking the smoke all of a sudden? I mean, what is going on here? I mean, this to me is just a cherry on top.
Yeah, weird shit. I don't begin to know. Like the devil's advocate answer is like, oh, he's working on a shit ton of trades and doesn't have the time or the energy to do it. That's something people have been floating out there.
Even though
Maybe
the trade
there's some
deadline's next week.
right.
You can't talk for 20 minutes. Sorry, go ahead.
Right. No, exactly. I agree. That's the devil's advocate answer. I don't know, man. Maybe he's really not looking to take the hard questions right now. He kind of during the off season when he spoke, he was like, this year's going to be different. Last year was an embarrassment, and they're working on yet another embarrassment. So maybe it's not trying to avoid those questions, because the last time we talked to him, it was, hey, last season was an embarrassment. It's not going to happen again. It was what did they call it? Like a isolated incident. And it looks like that's not the case. He's been getting a lot of heat online about, not attacking the wide receiver and offensive line positions. And maybe he doesn't want to take those questions. I don't know. Maybe it's that, maybe Haslam even came out and said, I don't want you to talk to him right now. That could be something. Maybe they're trying to, circumvent PR shit. I really don't know.
Jersey, what do you think?
I don't know. I'm just sitting here listening, but just still wondering how Mike McDaniel's ever got a job. I mean, he's running around with his capri pants on. And they're replaying him on the sidelines tonight, and it just shows him just screaming the F word. I think he knows it. He's probably getting a blade tonight. And the stress on this guy, but how does this guy ever get a gig? I mean, I would rather have Andrew Berry out there. But I don't know what the hell, like, for him to just be, I don't know, maybe there's just something going on that we don't know about, and that's why, or I don't know, maybe they feel like they've lost the media, they're talking heads, and they might start getting asked questions that they can't really answer, or they will be put on the spot.
I never heard that one. I like that.
That's a good one.
Point. Yeah.
That's what I think is
going back to earlier what I said, how they always give these politically correct robotic answers. It's easy to give those answers when everything's passive and they're not pressing you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And maybe it's gotten to the point now where they've lost that. And geez Louise, I'm sorry. I'm sitting here watching this Dolphins this is the worst football I've ever seen. The Browns have never, I mean, I was watching this and now they're showing replays. This is the worst football I have ever seen out of a professional football team.
Yeah,
what's going on in Miami?
They lost 28-6.
This shit's crazy. But anyways, yeah, I think that's probably what's happened. I think now even these people in the media, and we all know who they all are even they are now like worried about their own credibility, and because they're getting called out for shit. And here these guys can do a press conference, Barry and Stefanski, if the media supports it. If the media doesn't, it's almost like it's a rehearsal. They're war tracks that are using them with each other, so and maybe that shit's over with, and that's why he just didn't come out, because after all this time and what's going on, this is the worst it's ever been. Just when you think it couldn't get any worse, it's even worse. And fucking can't show his face, or he's afraid to answer questions.
Well, I think the crazy part of all this too, there's a reason why Myles Garrett's name's being brought up in trade rumors again. Now, financially, I think Myles is getting traded this season, though, because I don't think they can make it happen. But, if we get to the offseason, though, Myles sits down with Haslam or whatever, he has a no trade clause. I know they're going to have to move a lot of things around, but Albert Breer is possible. I know people have found a way where they could make it happen. If you're a guy like Myles Garrett, we talked about it earlier, guys, how could a guy like that, want to stick around if things don't change? Like, that's why I think Haslam has to make change. He has to change all this. He has to clean house. He's got to make a spark in these guys because their belief right now is not there. And I got this clip real quick. I'll play real fast from Stump Mitchell on his show Tuesday. I thought, and again, he knows he used to be in the locker room with a lot of these guys. I thought what he said here is well said.
Fantastic. Yes, Jessica Knight. What an inspiration.
Well, it's going to be interesting when you talk about the Browns. They're on a bye. Kevin has already said that he's not going to go with Shador. So I heard Joe Batonio talking about, it's just the funk that they're in right now is 10 people doing one thing right and then one person doing something wrong, and that affects everything. And he's absolutely right about that. But I think one thing that's lacking is just a true belief in what they're doing and who's doing it. I think that's what have hurt those guys from the start. Everybody knew Joe Flacco was going to be the starter come the season. So I don't know why they had a circus going around really making people think that it was going to be anything other than that. And I think perhaps Joe didn't get enough time to work with the starting receivers and tight ends, and as a result, things didn't go the way they should have. It was a ranking dink type offense with Joe, which it definitely didn't need to be with Shador or with Dylan, maybe so, but definitely not with Joe because he can throw the ball. I mean, you see what he's done so far in Cincinnati, just down the street from Cleveland. So they just mismanaged a lot of things the past couple years, to be perfectly honest.
Well said by Stump, but guys, I think the one thing he said there that stood out to me was this guy's losing belief. This is a guy who's a coach. We used to be in that locker room. He could probably spot it miles away. No pun intended, but your guys' thoughts. I mean, Myles Garrett, if a guy like him get the end of the season, he gets. I mean, again, like you said, and it just be Myles either. You got a guy like Ward, all these guys, their belief is getting very low, and that's a dangerous thing to have in that locker room because you can really lose a whole lot more than you want to in the end. It's hard to recover from. Mike, you want to take a crack at it real quick?
Yeah, I'll take a crack at it, and then I've got to Joe. But, yeah, I mean, excuse me, sorry. I think them losing belief is honestly definitely what could be happening. I mean, I've said from the get, like, it's only a matter of time before the defense gives up, and that's the one exciting part about our team. Carson Schwessinger's out well, no, they said he's week to week. It's a very minor ankle sprain, but still, this defense, everything they're doing, and they're doing everything they can, holding the run game to super low yardage per game. Being amazing in sacks. They were starting to get takeaways, and none of it matters because the offense is so bad. And, I can't imagine like being a player on that offense and being like, oh, damn, look, our defense is like doing everything they can, and we can't score a touchdown. We can't even get into field goal range. Like, what are we supposed to do? Like, I don't know how defeating that must be. That would be like, I don't even have like a good analogy for it. Like you just keep doing the same thing over and over again. You're watching your defense do everything possible to put you in the best position to win, and they do that every week. That's how good our defense is, and it just doesn't matter.
And all you
Because the
hear,
offense,
and all we get is you just got to be better.
yeah, and the offense can't do anything. And the only team you were able to put up over, put 21 points is arguably the only team worse than you. And it's man, like it's just a damn shame, and it's frustrating.
We're all speechless.
Yeah, it's seriously.
I know.
I think it's about time we move on from this front office. But you know what else I think it's time for?
TPF tomorrow night.
That
Halloween special.
Halloween special. The professional fan tomorrow evening. Please tune in. We're going to be going into specifically what trades are going to be happening in the NFL, what trades the Browns could make, what trades I think the Browns are going to make objectively, because not only is it the Halloween special, but the trade deadline is 4 days after Halloween, November 4th. So we're going to get into the nitty gritty of that, see what kind of trades the Browns can make. I think they're going to make quite a few. So tune into that. And I think it's also time for these people to please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you for 700 subscribers. Applause to all of you beautiful people who continue to support, watch, listen, all of that good stuff, who watches the playback. If you don't watch it live, we appreciate all of you. We appreciate all of you guys that chat in, day out. You guys are just the best. We love you very much. We all appreciate it. And I hope you continue to join us on this this crazy train that we're on, that we can't escape because of the geographical location I was born in.
Professional fan, appreciate you, bud. And are you going to salute on your way out of here? Or what are you doing tonight?
So it's pouring rain, right?
Yeah.
I'm in my swim trunks. I'm sprinting down the street, and I'm playing chicken with a semi, and I think I'm going to win.
All right. We hope to see you tomorrow night. TPF. Jersey, your final thoughts on the Myles Garrett situation and what Stump said?
I think what's happening is here. I think Myles, it was a great thing to happen with 5 sacks, but it was the worst thing that could have happened for those guys, Stefanski, BEREA, because when you take a highly productive person or employee, player, whatever, the more they produce, the angrier they become when other people around them aren't doing the same thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that's a great attribute, because that's someone that gives a shit, and that's someone that if they become that pissed off, that means they hold themselves at a higher standard. Because if they say, okay, well, here, like Myles had that string of games where he didn't have a sack, so he probably felt like, man, I'm not going to get up here and start throwing my helmet and shit down. I'm not producing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But he has that career game like that, a historic game. And I know what was in his head. He was just, it made him, it infuriated him. I'm out here, I've got 5 fucking sacks, and I can't get, he probably feels like he's on an island by himself, outside of his teammates. You know what I mean? I'm not talking about his teammates. He's just, Myles is a Hall of Famer. He's extraordinary talent.
Well,
He's
and
elite.
his post-game comments, too, it sounds like he was upset that he was taken out of the game that early. Because their first team was still in the game. I think Myles pretty much said, I want to keep competing. I want to keep, as long as their guys are out there, why are we going out of the game? I think what Myles is kind of saying, we had a loser mentality.
Well, I think the other thing he's saying is, I don't have any respect for you assholes. How dare you take me out of the game? I don't respect you enough for you to tell me what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think that's what he's saying. When you're doing your fucking job, you can tell me what I'm going to do. And I think that's what he's saying.
Yep.
So because I'm out here producing, my motor's going 100 miles an hour, I'm doing my part, and you're not, and I'm getting tired of it. You know what I mean? And now you got the nerve to tell me what to do? Kiss my ass. So Jimmy Haslam better wake the hell up and say, and it'd be one thing if this was a new coaching regime that came in this year and Myles was doing this shit, because it looked like, okay, he just doesn't want to cooperate. They've been together now for years, you know what I mean? And Myles has been here longer than them. So the fact that he's doing this now and he's doing it on a game where he had 5 sacks, that tells you where his head is at that end.
Well, it's like the picture
Yeah.
on the screen. Look at him. He's sitting down there by himself. He don't even want to talk to nobody.
Yeah. Here. Gosh, Jimmy Haslam. If by chance you get to watch our podcast, you come across it, maybe you're one of these owners I know it's highly unlikely to be a damn billionaire, but my gosh, if
you
you
did
are,
watch, sorry about the first half hour.
oh, I'm not sorry. You deserve it, Jimmy. You
No,
absolutely deserve it, dude. You're not above it, but it's
No,
because
I
we
know.
give a shit. We give a shit. And the fact that we get on here and talk about your team constantly, you should be appreciative of it, even though there's bad and good. So, but my gosh, listen to your player. Listen to your player. This guy, I mean, listen to your
Players
player.
are your greatest assets.
Yeah.
Listen to them.
Those are your greatest assets. If your player's acting out now, which is uncharacteristic of him, it's time to make a change. So get him the coaching he deserves.
And yeah, and I think that's why I brought up Coach Stump, because he was in that locker room. He knows it. I know what Stump says all the time too. He feels bad for the players because he knows these guys, how hard they work. He knows the kind of guys that are in that locker room. He says he sees it too. We see it. We all see it. And that's why you hear a guy like that saying they're going to start losing respect. You know what I mean? They're losing the urgency and just the desire, like he said, they want to show up. And that's a bad place to be. You have to make a change. He has no choice.
Yeah, coaches and owners get to go on as long as they want. I mean, you don't find football players that play into their 70s. They got a short shelf life. It's like they're almost like shooting stars. You know what I mean? They only got so much time.
Just having pride, like, having personal pride. It's like we were saying, how could somebody want to keep doing this? I mean, again, 2016, this guy, 56, 99, and 1. It's got to end. Enough is enough.
I think Myles Garrett, so what he's on his 3rd contract now. He just got a big boy contract. Okay, he's gotten the money now. Now the focus, all the focus is I have to win. I have to win. I put all this time in. I've lost so much. I'm tired of losing. I can't lose anymore. It's terrible. It's terrible for your mind, your psychological.
Mm-hmm.
But he's got paid. Now I have my, I'm running out of time. I got to win. You know what I mean? I've put my, I've put my time in. And so, I mean, it's just, I don't know if they could ever put a team together. I don't know if they could. Let's say they changed out. Well, I guess they could. Look what Vrabel's doing in New England.
It was in our building.
If they put the right people in that building in the off season, yeah. So
change can happen a lot faster than people think if you put the right people in there.
If you just the culture itself,
you could be just 1 or 2 years away, because somebody's going to come in there and see it a lot differently and might see something, get something out of these players that this old regime clearly can't. You know what I mean? They'll be able to start drafting properly, making smarter trades. And when I mean smarter trades, in terms of not a draft accumulation, which that's the one thing some of the bots in the media and on the internet say that praise these people. Well, look at all the draft capital. They got a 5th round pick for Joe Flacco. Like, what the fuck? What's a 5th round pick? How about building out a roster? We want to talk about draft capital and reconstructing like money and draft capital. No, how about, like Mike said, how about taking a lineman for once? How about, taking a real rider, somebody who can actually evaluate a wide receiver? How about that? You know what I mean? It's just like, it's how about, it's common sense in football. You know what I mean? Like, let's get that in there. That's all it is.
well, that's something they're lacking. And,
And I don't
they
think it's
just
all
don't
AB
have
or
that.
Kevin. I think a lot of it just goes to that philosophy they have to adhere under. But
Yeah.
get the money ball
Mhm.
out, and things will.
Listen to the computers.
Yeah, to bust out that T84 calculator. Really,
Gosh.
really working. You know, it is working though, Jersey. We finally got over 700 subscribers, and people are loving it. They're subscribing. They appreciate you guys. We love
Sure
all you
do.
guys. Good to
Yep.
see Robbie back in the house tonight. Parent John is always good to see you, brother. We saw Tori's in the house tonight. Who else would we have? God's Love. Appreciate for tuning in. BeerTube 86. Great name. Thanks for tuning in. And Teflon Don, always keeping it real. Brown's consistently below ass. He's tired of it.
Mhm.
All you guys. We couldn't do without you guys. Honestly, we love all you guys. Getting to know some of you guys on the side too, like Humble and I become really good friends in real
Yeah.
life. Guy, it's really cool where this is taking us, and we'll all vent together and go along the journey together, like Mike said. So keep subscribing, sharing, guys. I appreciate you guys. Don't you want to add to that, Jersey?
No, I'm just very appreciative. I mean, every subscriber is important, and
Go on,
everybody gets yeah. I mean, everything. Anybody just even comes on here and watches. None of it's taken for granted. Because it's just hopefully, somebody's having a bad day or somebody's having a bad week, or I just try to get out here and entertain and speak my mind, just be truthful. I mean, people that know me, I guess I'm a pretty genuine person. I don't really, as far as I don't, what you see on here is who I am. And so, uh, I just try to entertain people, maybe make people laugh, and I know it's your passion too, is to just entertain people, and um, and everybody on here, Mike, same way. So just appreciative to everybody, and just keep sharing it. You know, subscribe if it's your first time watching it. It's just going to get better and better and better. Here, just going to hit 1,000 here. It's going to hit 1,000 here, and it's going to be off to the races. And you know, one of his best friends. Uh, One of his best friends produces the #1 podcast in the world, #1 streamer in the world, and he told Joseph a couple years ago, "Your content's just unbelievable, and stick with it. It's gonna explode one day." So we want all you people there with us. You know what I mean? So just appreciate
Absolutely.
all of it. Yep. And then we'll see you on Sunday, and see what the hell's going on Sunday. See what we're talking about Sunday night. What the Browns do now. So. Oh,
Yeah,
they're
we'll
on buy.
see.
Are they on buy? Aren't they?
We're on a bye, but we'll have something
Yeah.
planned. We'll work on
Yeah.
it. But I might have something special for you guys. I might I'll just stay tuned. We'll see. I don't know. But yeah, we'll see you guys Sunday night. Tune in tomorrow night for the professional fan. Mike's always got something interesting, so I'll be looking forward to listening to that. Yeah, love all you guys. Like, subscribe, share all the good stuff, and we're out of here.